The Joe Rogan Experience.
You came on my radar when you were discussing Oumuamua. Is that what I
Yes,
said?
that's the right.
Oumuamua, which is an object that we detected in space that you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial in origin, meaning from some sort of a civilization.
Right.
Yeah. Why did you? Please explain to people what Oumuamua is, why it's so extraordinary, and why you think it's possible that it came from some other intelligent civilization.
Right. So I'm a scientist, and I basically follow the evidence, just like Sherlock Holmes, trying to find solutions. It's a detective story. You have some anomalies, some things that don't quite match what you expected, and you're trying to find an explanation. And the thing about Oumuamua is that it was discovered on October 19th, 2017, a little more than 3 years ago. And it was the very first object that visited our vicinity in the solar system from outside the solar system. It moved too fast to be bound to the sun. Very first object that we have found coming to us from interstellar space, from other places. And at first, astronomers said, oh yeah, it's probably just like the objects we had in our solar system, all the rocks that we have seen before. We've seen comets and asteroids. So a comet is a rock that is covered with ice, water ice. So when it gets close to the sun, the surface gets warmed up and the ice turns into vapor, gas. And you see this beautiful cometary tail behind it. That's what a comet is. An asteroid is just rock without much ice on it. Actually, the first person to explain what comets are was at Harvard, the university that I am affiliated with. And the story goes that, it was Fred Whipple, that he went to Harvard Square and saw all the slush during a winter day, and came up with the idea that it's just icy rock or icy rocks or, rocky ice. And that's what a comet is. And the comets come to us from the periphery of the solar system. And, astronomers said, okay, other stars may have them as well. And, since they are loosely bound, if they are in the periphery, they can be easily ripped apart from their host star. And some of them will fly in our direction. We will see them. So they said, Oumuamua is probably a comet. The only problem is there wasn't any cometary tail. So you look for a duck, but it doesn't look like a duck, So then the question is, what is it? And so people said, okay, it's just a rock without any ice on it. Then the problem was that it exhibited an extra push away from the sun. And usually you get it from the rocket effect. That when you make the cometary tail, it pushes the object in the opposite direction, just like a jet plane. A jet plane works by throwing gas out, and that's pushing you forward. So a comet has an extra push when it evaporates. But there was no cometary tail, so why did it show an extra push? That was the key question in my mind, at which point I started thinking, maybe it's not a comet and not an asteroid, something else, And the other strange thing about it, it changes its brightness by a factor of 10 or more. And the brightness of the object, the light that we see, is simply reflected sunlight. So just think about it. Think about a piece of paper, razor-thin piece of paper, tumbling in the wind, and changing the area that we can see, the projected area of that piece of paper, by a factor of 10 as we look at it. That's exactly what we inferred from this object spinning around every 8 hours, but changing its brightness by a factor of 10, meaning that the area projected on the sky that we see, that reflects sunlight, changed by a factor of 10. So that means it has an extreme geometry. Most likely flat, if you try to interpret the light that it reflected over as it was tumbling around. And so a flat object, about the size of a football field, that has an extra push. If it were a comet, it needed to lose about 1/10 of its weight. So a lot of evaporation. You can't just say, oh, it's a little bit of evaporation, and therefore that's why we don't see it. it should have lost a tenth of its weight. You know, if we go on a diet and lose a tenth of our weight, that's a big chunk of mass, right? So this object didn't lose that because we didn't see it. And the Spitzer Space Telescope looked very deeply behind it to see if there are any traces of dust or gas. Didn't see anything. So then, you know, just like Sherlock Holmes, I was trying to think together with a postdoc of mine, Shmuel Bialy, what could explain it? And the only thing that came to mind is reflecting sunlight. So the object itself is being pushed by the sunlight reflecting off its surface. And, you know, that would agree with everything we know about the object. But in order for it to work, the object needs to be very thin, like a sail. You know, the sail on a boat. So a sail is pushed by a wind. But you can also push an object, a thin object, by light. And that is called the light sail. And we're actually using this technology now, developing it for space exploration. The big advantage is you don't need to carry the fuel with the spacecraft. You just reflect light off it, and it's being pushed.
There was a science fiction movie that did something like that. I think it was called Sunlight.
Quite possibly. I should mention an anecdote. In September, just a few months ago, in September 2020, there was another object that showed an extra push, no cometary tail. And then astronomers gave it a name 2020 SO, okay, September 2020. And then they extrapolated back in time and found that it came from Earth, actually. And then they looked at the history books and saw that indeed there was a rocket booster from a lunar lander that was kicked into space, and this is the object. Now, why did it show this push? Because it's a very thin structure. So here is an example where we can tell it's artificial, and we know that we made it. But Oumuamua could not have been made by us because it was passing near us just for a few months, very quickly, faster than any rocket that we can launch. That's why we couldn't really chase it when it was receding away from us. And it came from outside the solar system. So, you know, I just do 1 + 1 = 2. I say, okay, it looks very peculiar.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash.
Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. And salutation and much love to Yakim out there pushing out his word and truth and sincerity. Hey, turn it a little bit more. Get you in there. Yeah, but pretty much as you've seen, you know, in the post production, I put it at the beginning of the video, the little clip from Joe Rogan's podcast. All right, talking about a foreign object that passed by Earth back in 2017, and they said that the scientist was saying that it was most likely extraterrestrial, meaning they didn't come from Earth, they didn't even come from this galaxy, not even the solar system. The dude said it's the first time that anything has come from outside of our solar system. So, what do you think that is? That's whether it was Yahawashi himself or Chariots, this is what's coming. All right, the fleet of Chariots are coming. All right, ultimately a fathership. All right, that's how Yahawashi is going to return. So we'll start off in Acts chapter 1 and read and see what happened when the Lord left. So this is Acts chapter 1, and I'll start at 6. Yeah, I'll start at 6. It says, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel? Right? Because that's what ultimately Yahawashi is coming back to do. And he's coming back on so-called UFOs, the chariots. All right, you can call them whatever you want, extraterrestrial, this and that. Look, we know what they are. Those are the vehicles of the Lord. Okay, the chariots. It says, and he said unto them, it is not for you to know the time or the season which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. Right. So this is how we know we at the end, because this has already been fulfilled. Okay. This is happening right before your eyes. Okay. Let me put it in do not disturb mode real quick. Go ahead.
Back you up, which is beautiful what you said. He shall be a witness unto the in the end. right? And that's heavy because those witnesses are here. The 2 witnesses is here. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom is here. And that's more proof that you know that the Lord, Yahawashi is getting ready to return, because the witnesses is here. You know?
Well, I don't know why they wouldn't let me do it, but anyway. Going on is Acts 1:9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. All right, so a cloud, the scriptures refer to the chariots, or the so-called UFOs, as clouds. All right, pillars of fire. All right,
that's birds fly.
It's birds fly. Yeah, we're gonna get that too. You know, so that's how the Lord's coming back, as clouds, in clouds. And that's the best way they could describe it at the time, because they didn't have airplanes. You know, they didn't have helicopters. They didn't have nothing that could fly at that time. So what could the only thing they could describe it as, a cloud or like birds flying? You know, referring to the formations and stuff. But verse 10, it says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, you know, they show these movies where people get abducted, alien abductions or whatever. The tractor beam comes down and beams them up. Well, that's how the Lord left. And that's how Lord's will, we gonna leave America, okay? And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by in white apparel, which were 2 angels, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahawashi, which is taken up from you into heaven, right? Because that's what they say. And matter of fact, in that clip, the Joe Rogan clip, he actually called Joe Rogan. He was like, "Oh yeah, when you're trying to study the heavens." So where the heavens at? First and foremost, the immediate heavens is right there, the atmosphere where the birds fly. You know, where the chariots are going to be at, where Yahawashi is going to be at. All right, and then you got space, the other heaven. Okay. Which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same way he left is the same way he gonna make his return. Okay, get a Revelation 1. Okay, because that's how the Lord's gonna return, man. Whether you believe it or not, that's how he left. Okay, because how else can you explain that? A cloud took him up. Come on, man. That's what people ignorantly call UFOs, man. But here it is, people that claim to be Christians and read the Bible. You tell them something like that, they're gonna look at you like you got 18 heads. But wait a minute, I thought you believe in the scriptures. It's in the scriptures, and we're gonna bring out multiple scriptures to prove it. Go ahead.
That's right, bro. Revelations chapter 1 and verse 7, and it reads, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
Right, every eye shall see him. Why? Because first of all, he's gonna be in the fathership. It's gonna be huge. You know, we can't tell you an exact measurement how big it's gonna be, but just know every eye shall see him. And then on top of that, you're gonna have the fleet. All right, the angels, his army. All right, the host from heaven. All right, the military. All right, when the scriptures say he's gonna come with great power and glory, great glory. He coming with power and great glory. Matthew 24. That's talking about his army. All right, the word power there, I believe, goes into the word host. All right, so that's how the Lord's going to return, man. And every eye shall see him. A good example is watch the Independence Day. How it was the one big ass ship, and then he had all the other little ships, you know. But go ahead up.
Con. And it reads, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen.
Speak on it,
yeah, con. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and like the brother was bringing out in, the movie Independence Day, all right, even Ezra couldn't measure, all right, the fathership, man. Yeah. So how much more in real life time where you actually see the fathership coming in, blocking out the sun, man?
That's why I say that's why I say people's hearts failing them from fear. That's gonna be a scary sight, but it's gonna be a rejoicing sight for us. Because when we see the sky full of chariots, guess what? We know we out of here, man. So we gonna rejoice while people are, oh my God, it's an alien invasion, call the police. You know, that's what people do now. They see chariots and they bug out, and all they're seeing is lights in the sky. What happens when the chariots come down, where you can see the texture and the material that they're made out of? But that's what's gonna freak people out. But as for us, all right, as for the house of David, Lord's will be part of that. We gonna be rejoicing. We gonna be, man. If you were around us in that time, people gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with these guys? You don't see what's happening? Yeah, we see what's happening, and we're rejoicing. We told you this was gonna happen. What you mean? We gonna be tears of joy. You know.
Real quick for you, bro. St. Luke 21 and 27. And they shall see, and this is Yahawashi speaking. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud.
That's right. In a cloud again. Matter of fact, go click on the word. See what it's Esau put in there for cloud. It should be interesting.
It says, a cloud used of the cloud which led the Israelites in the wilderness.
There you go. Which was who? Yahawashi. So look, he's always been around in that cloud, man. And then he went back into it when he left. When he came back on the scene as Yahawashi, you know. And that's, guess what? He's coming in that same cloud that led us through the wilderness. Right. During the time of Exodus, right? Well, guess what? He coming back for the Exodus in that same cloud.
And back you up, bro. That's why I say John 16 and 14 speaks about a greater deliverance than Egypt. You know, because the Lord led us with that cloud out of Egypt.
Now this time we're going to go into the cloud.
And that's Isaiah 26 and 20. Come, enter thou into thy chariots and hide thyself, or chambers, or hide thyself as it be for a little moment. You know?
Go back to it, see what the Strong said. If there's anything on the Strongs. Or the lexicon.
It says, a cloud, a large, dense multitude, a throne used to denote a great shapeless collection of vapor obscuring the heavens.
Go back to the original, the word though, and then go down, see what it says.
Lexicon.
And just say, okay, properly clouded. So, hey, obviously he's not gonna tell you what it is, but it's coming from the heavens, man. It ain't just gonna be a white fluffy cloud, man. This ain't Dragon Ball Z where you Goku riding around on top of a cloud, man. It literally gonna be a chariot, you know. And Yahawashi might be standing on top of that, you know, with his sword in his hand, looking angry, you know. That was it. You have more on there?
Yeah, a little bit more. St. Luke 21 and 27. It says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with great power and great glory.
There you go. Great power and great glory. Get that word, great power. See, I think that's the one that says host or army, something like that. See, the power, glory.
It says,
strength, ability. It might have been glory then. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep, at the bottom.
Oh, kind of, yeah. It says power consisting in or resting upon armies.
There you go. So who's he gonna come with? His army, man. The angels. Michael, the archangel. Okay, Gabriel. All these angels is coming, man. All these angels is coming to get down with Yahawashi, and when we get beamed up, we gonna get down with them too. Yeah. You know. Go ahead.
Con. It says forces, host. Verse 28. And this is the point, bro. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Right. So that's where our redemption is coming from the heavens, man. The chariots, man. And that Esau's not telling us everything that's out there. That, you know, they see this shit, they be bugging out. They cutting the nasty live stream and shit. Because they see the chariots out there, dude. It's like you watch Star Wars, man. You know, you would see the fleet, all these spaceships coming, they would just stop before they got to the planet and just sit there. Who knows? That's probably what's out there right now because we're so close to the end. All right, but going back, continue on with these clouds. All right, to further hit the point home, drive the point home. This is Psalms 104 and 3. It says, "Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters? Who maketh the clouds his chariot? Who walketh upon the wings of the wind?" What does that mean? That means they fly. Walketh upon the wings of the winds like a bird. All right, a bird is able to fly because what? He can get the air goes under his wings, you know, giving him uplift or upthrust, so to say. Okay, and that's how the chariot. That's why they said, "Who maketh his wings to fly?" Or who maketh his clouds to like as chariots? Because that's what the best thing they could describe that as. Look, they're like birds flying. Okay, but they didn't have nothing to explain. Or that's a spaceship, or they had nothing to explain. So even when they see, like when Ezekiel saw the visions, you know, he would just explain it to what he could, you know, see around him at the time. You know, this is Isaiah 60. Well, actually, you can get it if you want. Isaiah 60 and 8.
Isaiah.
Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 60 in verse 8, and it reads, "Who are these that fly as a cloud?"
Right, who are these that fly as a cloud? Clouds fly, right? They're going through the sky, they're moving around. Go ahead.
Con. And as the doves to their windows.
Right. You see doves flying around. Who are these? These are the chariots of the Lord. This is the Lord's you know, so really he don't need a chariot, but he's the Jacob Jakes. He's gonna come stunting. Yeah. His chariot's gonna be bad, man. And who knows what it's gonna look like? But you know, hey, that's and it is like that because they called it extraterrestrial, right? Well, that's what it is, because the extraterrestrial bodies is gonna be the one that control it. Because get that Ezra where Ezra saw it, because it tells you that he didn't have to even lift a finger, and he didn't. It's just moving what he thinks. You know, that's how through the spirit the chariots are controlled through the captain of the ship. You know, and he ain't gotta steer the wheel. You know, fight against the water. You know, like on a boat, you gotta fight against the waves, or on a plane, the turbulent. Nah, man, you just slicing through the air like butter, man. Yeah, go ahead.
I got you. 2 Ezra 13 and verse 9. And it reads, and lo, hey, can I start it?
Yeah, you started it.
2 Ezra 13 and verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him.
Right, because they're gonna like, again, we always refer to that movie Independence Day. The nations are gonna come together in the midst of World War III, all right, and try to fight the Lord, but the Lord's gonna put it on their spirit to shoot the missiles anyway. So even though they're gonna kill each other, or shoot missiles, they're gonna still try to band together to fight the Lord, man. And it's gonna be a landslide victory for the Lord. Go ahead.
We're sore afraid.
Right, they're gonna be again, like we said earlier. Men's hearts failing them for fear. Some men, the military men, ain't gonna die from fear though, because they gonna fight. The Lord gonna make them fight. Go ahead.
And yet there's fight.
Mm-hmm.
And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came.
Right, so they come in with violence, shooting missiles, you know, shooting all kind of things at the chariots to no avail. You know, go ahead.
He neither lifted up his hand.
Right, so the Lord ain't even got to lift his hand up. And let's find out what's going to happen without even lifting a finger. Go ahead.
Nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire.
Right, those are talking about the laser beams, all right? They show you that in the Independence Day, World of Wars. Anytime they show movies about UFOs, they always show laser beams coming out. Why? Where is that written in comic? Where does that basis come from where the chariots or UFOs have to have laser beams? Like, what inspired these people to make movies about chariot with laser beams? It's in the scriptures. Throughout the scriptures, okay? Go ahead.
And out of his lips a flaming breath.
Right, go ahead.
And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all mixed together,
See, all that is, all of the tempest, the sparks, the fire, all right, all that is mixed together. Go ahead.
And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. Mm-hmm. And fell with violence upon the multitude.
That's right. So it's the laser beam gonna fall with violence upon the multitude, man. It's gonna be zapping shit to obliteration, man. Like, it's just gonna be instantly gone like that, and it's gonna tell you what's gonna be left after you get zapped. Go ahead.
Which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one. Mm-hmm. So that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude,
this innumerable multitude, all these militaries that are gonna come up against the Lord. In a sudden, this is going to happen. Go ahead.
Nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke.
So he's going to be, when the Lord said he's going to beat them to powder or dust, that's literal with those laser beams. And all you're going to be able to perceive is the dust or ashes, and then the smell of smoke. When something burns, it gives off an aroma. And when all this is burning, America's burning, that's all you're going to smell throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Because the battle and the war in heaven, all right, that's going to take place around the whole earth. Because chariots are going to be everywhere, all these militaries everywhere. They getting taken down, man. And then, hey, when we come back down, that New Jerusalem come back down, you ain't got no armies. You ain't going to have no armies, so you going to have to fall in line quick. You know? Go ahead.
Hey, real quick back here, that's why Scripture say they neither learn war anymore, roughly paraphrasing that. Mm-hmm. So that's how you know that those hypocrites aren't the real Hebrew Israelites.
1948ers.
Right, because there's still war taking place as we speak, man.
In the land, in the Holy Land.
That's right. It says, when I saw this, I was afraid.
Go to where he says about the mountain. That look like an engraved mountain.
Oh, come. Yeah, it's up a little bit.
Yeah, it's up.
Come. Yeah.
Just to back up what we said earlier, you know, the fathership, you know. Go ahead. 2
Ezra 13 in verse 5, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a slut. Oh yeah, this is it. There was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the men that came out of the sea.
But the sea. So what? Remember, the Lord created the firmament to separate the waters from the waters. So what sea is this talking about? It's talking about the heavens, in which we talked about in the clip. You're gonna see it at the beginning. Okay, the heavens, like we said earlier. What is heavens called in Hebrew? Shemayim, of the waters. Okay, and what is waters called here on the earth? Mayim. All right, Shemayim, Mayim. You know, being the root word, waters. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain.
A great mountain. When you see a mountain, you have to be hundreds and if not thousands miles away to see the whole mountain, and then you still might not be able to see it all because it might be so big. You might just go up past as far as the eye can see. So if you're super close to it, which that's how the Lord going, He's gonna get super close. Okay, you ain't gonna see where it's. Well, go ahead.
Con. It says, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven.
Right, so Ezra looking for where the mountain just take off. Yeah. You know, like, let me look for where it just came from. Go ahead.
And I could not. Yeah, and that's it, bro. Yeah, that's it.
There you go, man. So, let me get this now. This is Isaiah 31:5. It says, as birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. So like that, right? So what does that mean? They come in formation, all right? Which is what? The battle formations. All right, when you see birds flying, guess what? There's a leader, and then the rest are following him, but there's an order to it. It's a formation. And that's how the Lord's going to return, man. He's going to come in battle formations, okay? Because what? Like we read earlier in Luke, He's coming with power and great glory. That power is his host, his army. Okay? And let me get this to prove that this is already taking place. Okay? This has already happened before. I'll get it in Psalms. It's in Samuel as well, but I'll get it in Psalms 18. And you know, to further go on to these laser beams and how the chariot is going to deliver us. All right? In our time of trouble, when we call upon the name of Yahawashi, this is Psalms 18:6. In my distress, are we not in distress right now? All right, and this is King David. So lucky. In my distress, I called upon Yahweh and cried unto my power. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. See, this is how it's going to happen. The earth, well, because of the missiles, but the earth is physically, people are going to be shaking and trembling when they see the chariots. It says, and we're shaken. It's like the foundations also of the hills moved, and were shaken because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Right, because when you see this big old chariot over you, it's gonna blot out the sun. All you're gonna see is, bro, I'm telling you, I've had a dream about it. And I've had, you know, I don't know if that was the fathership or not, but I could see it was the clouds parted and during the dream, and then the chariot came down, you know, and you could see the texture, the lights. It was amazing, man. But it says, but it was the point was it was darkness. You couldn't see nothing over the chariot, you know, because it's gonna cover it, you know.
Hey, to back you up, that's why Zephaniah, the first chapter, it says the day of the Lord is darkness. Mm-hmm. You know, darkness and gloomness.
Spiritual and physical.
Yeah, because when the chariots come, they're going to bring, it's going to be so heavy. They're going to blot the light out, man. And that new light is going to be your adjustment, man. Straight darkness, man. You got it.
Verse 9, Psalms 18:9, it says, he bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. So again, it keeps iterating how he's flying on the wings of the wind. You know, meaning he's just flying. Brothers seen chariots, man. There's footage of chariots out there. So this ain't far-fetched. Google it. They declassified UFO documentations from the Navy, and now just right before Trump left office, they just released a bunch of documentation about that.
And it was they asked Donald Trump a question on the UFOs, and he said he's not going to speak on that.
Yeah, because he got a gag order. He can't. All right, this is verse 11. It says, he made darkness his secret place, his pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. And that's how I had it in the dream, bro. It was dark clouds, and then when the clouds started parting, the chariot came down through it. Verse 12, at the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Again, those come the laser beams. It says, Yahweh also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent out arrows and scattered them. And you go into that word scattered, matter of fact, get it real quick. Because I'm pretty sure it means to slay or something like that, or smite. So when it says, yea, he sent out his arrows, which are the laser beams, it says, and scattered them, is verse 14. So let's see what it's talking about when it says scattered them. Are they just going to, get beamed, to get hit by the lasers and run around getting scattered? No, they're going to get slayed by it. Go ahead.
Con, I'm going to get right to it. It says to dash to pieces.
There you go.
To overflow, to flow, to break.
Does it say slay or smite?
No.
Go down to the drawings, yeah.
Dash to pieces.
Break, okay. Yeah, I thought maybe it was a different word there, but nonetheless, dash to pieces, You're going to get dashed to pieces with these arrows. Oh, okay, let me finish it. It says, and he shot out lightning and discomforted them. That's the word, get discomforted. Because, when people think about discomfort, you don't feel good or you're not comfortable. Well, no, that's not what the scriptures is talking about when it says, and he discomforted them. So let me read it again. It says, yea, he sent out his arrows and scattered them, meaning dashed to pieces, and he shot out lightnings and discomforted them. Go ahead.
It says to move noisily, confuse, making noise, discomfort, break, consume, crush,
destroy,
yeah, trouble, vex.
God, there you go, man. So maybe I think the word was destroy. Go to the root. We'll go down real quick to the lexicon. See if there's anything in there. Threshing, to destroy, utterly, make extinct. Damn. God, what's the root word? Put to flight. It says to put to flight as well.
I got you.
Yeah, it does see what the root is. What's to compound? To murmur. Okay, go back to the other one then. Okay, so but nonetheless, you're gonna be destroyed, not feel uncomfortable.
Put in extinct. So wicked. That's why Second Ezra says wickedness is sealed up.
Exactly. Yep. Verse 15. Then the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at thy rebuke, O Yahweh, at the blast of thy breath, at the blast of the breath of thy nostrils, he sent from here we go. Here now we get into the part of salvation. Get 1 Thessalonians 4. Hold that on deck. It says, because this already happened to King David. King David actually experienced this, and now it's going to happen to the house of David. How about that? Verse 16. He sent from above. Did not the Lord get called to? They saw him go up, like we read in Acts, right? It says he sent from above. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He delivered me. And those many waters is the peoples, because the Lord also refers to the people as waters, right? Or the seas. Like Israel is as the sands of the sea. But there's a scripture that I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. But nonetheless, there's a couple of scriptures that the Lord refers to the people as waters.
That's even in Revelations. It says seas. It speaks about the people.
The seas. That's what it is.
The horror is over the people at sea. Roughly.
That's right. Yep. That's what I was thinking of. The seas. Yeah. Verse 17. He delivered me from my strong enemy, and who our strong enemy now is Esau, and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. Right? Because we just right now we're just mortal men. We can't overcome Esau physically or carnally. The Lord's going to deliver us. It says, they prevented me in the day of my calamity, but Yahweh was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. So that large place is going to be that large chariot, man. All right.
So he got beamed up.
Exactly.
He got abducted just like
Elijah,
Yahawashi.
Yeah.
Okay, King David, and then going into like the brother said earlier, before he read it, the brother said, look, that's what's going to happen to the house of David. Because the tabernacle of the house of David is being risen up right now to get beamed up into the chariots. Right. It only makes sense.
Go ahead and get that in
All
right, because not only, again, the Lord left in the same manner we going to leave, okay? His elect is going to leave the same way he left. So go ahead.
1 Thessalonians 4 and can I start verse 15?
Yeah, you start 15. Okay.
1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
Which are the ones that have died knowing this truth, right? They're gonna, we'll see how it's gonna play out, but the Lord could rise them up from the graves and have them get beamed up on the chariots, man. All right? Go ahead, though.
Verse 16, for the Lord Yahawashi himself shall descend from heaven with a shout.
Right, so how he gonna descend from heaven, all right? He coming from the space, right? And that's how he left, okay? He went up to the heavens, and now he's going to come back from the heavens in the same cloud that he left in. Go ahead.
With the voice of the archangel and with the trump of the Most High. And the dead in Mashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds.
That's right. Where we going? In the clouds. That large place. Okay? The chariots. You call them UFOs, we call them IFOs, identified flying objects. All right, go ahead.
To meet the Lord in the air.
Right, and real quick, before you keep going, this is that shout. Did you read that already? It says the shout.
Yeah,
right, this is the shout that you're going to hear. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven. Where's the Lord coming from? The heaven. Saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to the heaven in a cloud. And their enemies beheld them. Boom, bam, wham. So for you Christians out there, what is that talking about? What is that talking about? It is the UFO. It's not, it may be or it gotta be. It is. Okay? Go ahead.
So shall we ever be with the Lord.
Right. So that's it, man. Once we get in them chariots, the everlasting begins.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll close out. You got anything else?
No.
I'll close out on this. This is Isaiah. This is 26, verse 20. Isaiah 26 and 20. Come, my people, enter down into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. Because we got to be in them chairs, especially being here in America, and wherever the brothers around the four corners of the earth are. All right, most likely those places, wherever you see a Camp, Great Millstone, most likely them cities are gonna be destroyed here with nukes, man. To be real, we know America's gonna be completely destroyed, but anywhere else, because America got missiles too, and they gonna shoot them off. So wherever them missiles are going, there's a camp in that area. That's why the Lord's got to deliver His elect into the chariots. All right, and then with that little moments when the missiles is exploding and burning this shit up. All right, and it don't specify how long that little moment's gonna be.
But that's why you got, and that's kick in where you got to be spiritual, man. To actually see that, and you can only be spiritual if Yahawashi Shah is dealing with you to actually see these things in the spirit.
This is verse 21. For behold, Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. There you go, man. So everything's gonna be brought to light. All right. Everything's gonna be brought to naught, All right, so that's it. We can close out on that. But Lord's willing, this was edifying. As the Spirit had us do this because that clip. Hey, we know what it is. It ain't maybe. It is what the dude was trying to get at. A civil, what do you call it? Extraterrestrial of another civilization, which is the righteous civilization, okay? The Lord Himself, man. All right, you people are gonna find out the hard way. All right, we waiting on Him. You people are gonna be horrified when you see Him return, though.
And He even said out His mouth, it's not a meteorite and it's not an asteroid. He said it's something different. So and we know what that is, and Esau know what it is, but he tried to exit out the most.
You pick out the bones from the meat, of course. He throw it and try to. Esau always tried to explain everything away, but he can't. So, with that, Lord's willing, this was edifying. We want to give all praises, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash.
Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation and much love to you, RPM. Shalom.
Shalom.